Imagine for a moment that you are the luckiest person who has ever lived. Not because of wealth, fame, or fortune, but because you know something most people never even dare to believe, that life does not happen to you, it responds to you. That every event, every opportunity, every chance encounter unfolds in harmony with what you are assuming to be true about yourself. The world isn't a chaotic, indifferent machine. It's a mirror reflecting back the assumptions you carry in silence. To act as if you are the luckiest person in the world is not about pretending or faking. It is about entering the secret place within you where reality begins. Not in the outside world, but in your own imagination. When you assume you are lucky, you awaken to a deeper law that governs the unseen. Luck to the world is randomness, but to the awakened mind, luck is the evidence of alignment between inner belief and outer experience. Have you ever noticed how some people always seem to be at the right place at the right time? Doors open for them. Opportunities flow effortlessly into their lives. They find solutions before others even know there's a problem. You may have called them lucky, but if you looked closely, you'd see they expect good things. They carry an unshakable belief that life bends in their favor. That expectation, the silent, invisible force of belief, is what we call luck. Not an accident, not a coincidence, a spiritual law in motion. So what happens when you begin to live like that? When you wake up in the morning with a smile, not because of what is, but because of what you've claimed within. You walk differently, you speak with confidence. You no longer react to appearances. You carry yourself like someone who knows, really knows, that everything is always working out for you, even when it seems like it's falling apart. You no longer beg the world to notice your worth. You assume your place in it. You no longer fear the future. You welcome it, knowing that it must reflect the inner atmosphere you created. To act as if you are the luckiest person in the world is to assume that nothing is out of place, that even your delays are divine, that even rejection carries redirection, that life is always conspiring in your favor, though you may not always see the hand moving behind the curtain. You begin to look at closed doors not as defeat, but as God's protection. You don't just wish for good things, you claim them. You prepare for them. You give thanks for them before they arrive. Attitude becomes your secret weapon. You no longer wait for blessings to show up to say thank you. You start with thanksgiving, knowing that what you appreciate appreciates. Every step you take becomes infused with the power of unseen faith, and life in turn cannot help but respond. Circumstances shift. People are drawn to your energy. Solutions come from unlikely places. Not because you forced them, but because you expected them. And here is where many go wrong. They wait to feel lucky until something lucky happens. But that's not how the law works. You must feel it first. You must embody it now. You must enter the mood of answered prayer before the evidence shows up. That's the sacred order. Assume the feeling of being divinely favored, and the world will bend to make it true. You do not need to be born into privilege to live a privileged life. You only need to awaken to your power to choose your assumptions right now, this very moment. You could begin to walk through this life as if the heavens are open over you, as if every room you enter is already prepared to receive you, as if every situation is turning in your favor, even if it doesn't look like it yet. That's the power of assumption. That's what it means to act as if you are the luckiest person in the world. So take a breath, let go of appearances, and step into the reality you desire, not by waiting for it, but by living in the state of it right now. Because when you do, the world cannot help but mirror your inner world. You are not a victim of fate, you are its author. What you accept inwardly, life must express outwardly. And the moment you claim without doubt, I am the luckiest person in the world, life must respond with proof. Not someday, not after you've earned it, but the moment you believe it. There is a secret place within every human being where the script of life is written, not by fate, not by accident, but by the quiet, often unnoticed power of assumption. To the outside world, life appears to unfold by chance. Some are deemed fortunate, others not. Some rise with ease, others fall without warning. But beneath this surface illusion, a spiritual law operates with absolute precision. It is the law that whatever you assume to be true, consistently and with feeling, must eventually become your experience. This is not philosophy. This is not positive thinking. It is spiritual causation. To act as if you are the luckiest person in the world is to deliberately plant the seed of that assumption into the fertile ground of consciousness, trusting that it must grow into reality. Everything begins in the mind. Long before the world sees it, you must feel it. Long before your hands touch it, your spirit must hold it. You do not need proof to assume something as true. You only need to accept it in your imagination. And here is the mystery. When you accept it as truth within, your outer world rearranges itself to reflect it. The world is not resisting you. It is responding to you. Every event, every person, every so-called coincidence is shaped by the inner tones of your being. So if you walk through life assuming lack, you will experience lack. If you carry the belief that others are lucky but you are not, life will echo that back to you with precision. But the moment you shift, the moment you begin to dwell in the state of being favored, blessed, and divinely lucky, you awaken the law of reflection, and life must yield to the new truth you've accepted. The assumption is not wishful thinking. It is not idle daydreaming. It is a spiritual act, a declaration of what is, even before the world confirms it. When you assume you are lucky, you are not hoping that something good might happen. You are stepping into the reality where it already has. You are declaring within yourself that the good you seek is already yours. This assumption becomes the mold through which life pours itself. You cannot expect water to take shape without a vessel. Likewise, you cannot expect life to deliver what you have not first claimed within. Now ask yourself, what have you been assuming about yourself in silence? When no one is around, when the distractions fade, what do you quietly believe to be true about your destiny? Do you assume that life is against you, that things never work out for you, that others get chosen and you get overlooked? These beliefs, even if unspoken, are powerful. They are not passive, they are creative, and they are constantly forming the outer pattern of your days. But here's the beauty. You can change them. You can revise them. You can begin this very moment to assume something higher, truer, more aligned with divine favor. You can begin to act as if the stars are aligned for you, as if doors are opening that no one can shut, as if everything you need is already on its way, drawn by the gravity of your own belief. Do not wait for life to show you evidence before you believe. That is the way of the world, but not the way of the Spirit. The law is not see and then believe. The law is believe, and you shall see. This is the secret known by all who live uncommon lives. They do not wait for conditions to be perfect. They create those conditions by assuming them. They walk into rooms as if they belong. They approach opportunities as if they are already there. They carry a quiet confidence, not rooted in arrogance, but in the inner knowing that they are aligned with something greater than themselves. To assume you are the luckiest person in the world is not to deny reality. It is to reshape it. It is to go beyond appearances and choose a higher truth. You are not bound by your past. You are not defined by statistics, circumstances, or the judgments of others. You are defined by what you claim within. And when you claim divine favor, when you embody the feeling of being blessed, The world cannot help but follow suit. It has no choice. The world is clay. Your assumption is the hand that molds it. Every morning you rise is an invitation to create anew. Will you assume the worst out of habit, or will you dare to assume the best out of faith? Will you rehearse old disappointments, or will you imagine new beginnings? The choice is yours. And the moment you choose differently, the moment you say, I am not unlucky, I am divinely guided, I am fortunate beyond reason, I am the magnet for miracles, something begins to shift. You won't see it all at once, but slowly and then suddenly, life starts echoing back what you whispered to yourself in silence. And if doubt creeps in, and it will, return to the assumption. When fear knocks, answer with faith. When the old story returns, rewrite it. Stand guard over your inner world, for that is where everything begins. And once the seed of assumption is planted and nurtured with belief, life itself becomes the garden in which it blooms. What the world calls luck is often misunderstood, reduced to a roll of the dice, a twist of fate, a chance encounter that no one could have predicted. People admire it when they see it in others, envy it when it seems absent in their own lives, and speak of it as if it belongs to a chosen few. But luck, in its truest and most spiritual sense, is not a fluke. It is not reserved for the elite. It is the natural result of internal alignment. When your thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and assumptions are harmonized with a vision of good, of favor, of divine orchestration, what follows in your outer life feels effortless, surprising, even magical to others. Yet to you, it is not magic, it is law. It is the unfolding of what was first believed long before it was seen. To understand this is to step out of the world's chaos and into divine clarity. You begin to see that nothing in your life is truly random. You begin to look back and recognize that every lucky break was preceded by a moment where something shifted inside you. Maybe you felt a surge of confidence. Maybe you suddenly believed in yourself. Maybe you dared to imagine that good things were possible for you. In that moment, you were not simply hoping for a change. You were aligning with it. You stepped into agreement with the life you desired, and that agreement began to attract all the pieces necessary to make it real. That is alignment. That is what the world mislabels as luck. When you walk in alignment, your steps are guided, not by external forces, but by the quiet power of your own assumption. There is a spiritual current running beneath the surface of all things, and when you come into harmony with it, you are carried not by struggle, but by flow. You meet the right people at the right time. You receive unexpected news that opens new doors. You find yourself in places that seem too perfect to be planned, and the outside world watches and says, how lucky they are. But the truth is, you are not lucky. You are aligned. This alignment begins in the invisible realm of your own consciousness. It begins when you stop doubting that you are worthy of good, when you stop resisting your own desires, when you stop asking if it will happen and begin to live as though it already has. When your emotions, your self-talk, your imagination, and your expectations all move in the same direction, you become unstoppable. You no longer contradict yourself. You are no longer asking for one thing while expecting another. Your entire being becomes a single yes, a single affirmation of the life you choose to live. And when that happens, you draw that life to you with a force more powerful than effort, because belief works faster than effort. But this kind of alignment requires discipline, not physical discipline, but spiritual discipline. You must train yourself to remain in the state of the wish fulfilled, even when appearances suggest otherwise. You must choose to feel lucky before there is evidence. You must walk with your head high when your circumstances still look low. You must give thanks for blessings that haven't yet arrived in the physical, knowing that they already exist in the unseen. This is not delusion. This is creation. For everything that is seen was first born in the unseen. Your inner alignment becomes the mold through which the outer world takes shape. You will know you are aligned when peace replaces panic, when trust replaces tension, when your inner conversation begins to echo the same truth as your desired outcome. You won't need to chase, convince, or struggle. You will attract, magnetize, and manifest. People will call you lucky, but you will know that what they see is simply the fruit of what you have believed. The world will marvel at your timing, your synchronicities, your breakthroughs. But you will remember the private moments when you chose to believe, when you sat in silence and imagined a new outcome, when you refused to accept defeat as final, when you stepped into the energy of the answer long before it arrived. And the beauty is, anyone can live this way. You do not need a perfect background, a prestigious education, or external validation to become lucky. You need only begin the sacred work of aligning your inner world with the truth of your divine favor. You need only start believing that you are already blessed, that your life is unfolding with divine precision, that what you seek is already seeking you. This belief must not be passive. It must be lived, breathed, walked, and felt. It must become the air you breathe and the tone of your imagination. And as this belief deepens, so too does your alignment. You move from hoping to knowing, from wishing to embodying, from waiting to receiving. This is how life transforms, not through force, but through faith, not by manipulating the world, but by harmonizing with the unseen laws that govern it. And when that harmony is achieved, when the sound of your inner world matches the rhythm of divine favor, life sings in your favor. What once seemed like coincidence becomes confirmation. What once felt delayed arrives with speed. What once felt out of reach enters your hands with grace. You don't have to wonder how or when, you simply know. You act, speak, walk, and live as if it is already done, because in the realm of spirit, it is. The outer world is only catching up to what you have already become within. And to the outside observer, it will always look like luck. But to you, it will feel like home. To live from the end is to occupy in your mind and emotions the state of already having what you desire. It is a radical departure from the way most people move through life. Most live toward their goals. They wait for the world to change before they feel differently. They measure progress by external signs. But the spiritual truth is this: you are not waiting on life, life is waiting on you. The outer world is simply a mirror, echoing back the assumptions you accept as true. And when you live from the end, you flip the entire structure of experience. You no longer ask, how do I get there? Instead, you dwell in the place where it is already done. You feel it, you taste it, you imagine it so vividly that the world begins to conform to the inner script you are already living out in your imagination. This approach is not about pretending. It is not about ignoring the present or denying what's in front of you. It's about understanding that the present circumstances are simply the residue of old beliefs and past assumptions. They are not fixed. They are not final. They are not stronger than the creative power that lies within you. When you live from the end, you claim your role as the author of your reality. You are no longer reacting to the world, you are causing it. And every thought, every feeling, every inner conversation becomes a seed, planted in the fertile soil of consciousness, destined to sprout in due time. Consider how the world is structured to make you live reactively. You are taught to wait, to prove yourself, to meet conditions. You are told that only one certain criteria are met. Once you have the degree, the job, the relationship, the approval, then you can finally feel successful, loved, happy, or free. But spiritual law invites you to reverse this. Feel the freedom first. Feel the love first. Feel the success first. When you live in the feeling of your desire fulfilled, without contradiction or doubt, You are in alignment with that reality, and the world must catch up. The mind may argue and say, "But I don't see it yet." That is where faith begins. You do not live from the end because you see it. You live from the end so that you will see it. The unseen comes first, always. Every visible result in your life began in the invisible realm of thought and feeling. Nothing is random, nothing is imposed upon you. Everything is rooted in the state of consciousness you occupy. So if you want to change the outer, you must first inhabit the inner state, where the desire is already fulfilled. That's where power is. That's where transformation begins. To live from the end means you no longer seek permission to believe. You no longer wait for encouragement. You step into the version of yourself who already has it, and you let that version lead. You ask not, "Can I become this?" but, "How would I think, speak, and act if I already were?" You begin to align your choices, your posture, your energy with the person who is no longer striving, but simply being. And that shift changes everything. Because the world responds not to your words, but to your state of being. It responds to who you are, not what you want. This is why so many remain stuck. They live toward their desires, which means they're always in a state of lack. They are chasing, reaching, hoping, waiting. Their inner dialogue reinforces the distance between them and their goals. But when you live from the end, you collapse that distance. You move from someday to now. Your imagination becomes your sanctuary. In it, you rehearse the scenes of your ideal life, not as a wish, but as a memory. You walk through the corridors of your mind already possessing what you desire. You touch it in your imagination. You smell the air. You feel the emotions. You create the vivid inner experience so deeply that it begins to feel natural. And once something feels natural, it must become real. This way of living requires intention. You must withdraw your attention from appearances and dwell in the unseen. You must refuse to be discouraged by delay. You must learn to ignore what contradicts your inner knowing. Because when you live from the end, you begin to see the world through a different lens. Everything becomes a part of the unfolding, even the detours, even the silence, even the apparent setbacks. You are no longer shaken by what you see because you know what you have already claimed within. The world is just catching up. There is great peace in living this way. You no longer carry the weight of uncertainty. You no longer wonder if you're worthy. You have already decided. You have already assumed your place. You begin to feel gratitude, not for what is coming, but for what has already arrived in your imagination. And this gratitude, this inner thanksgiving, becomes a magnet. It pulls the invisible into the visible. It bridges the gap between spirit and matter. And slowly, without strain, life reshapes itself to mirror the state you have consistently occupied. The change will come quietly at first. A phone call, an idea, a connection, a moment of clarity, a shift in atmosphere. And then, like a flood, things begin to rearrange, not because you chased them, but because you became the version of yourself who already had them. The world bends to meet the self-image you hold. It cannot do otherwise. It must obey the command given through your sustained assumption. That is the law. So begin today. Begin now. Close your eyes. Step into the feeling of already having what you desire. Let your body relax into that truth. Let your mind accept it. Let your imagination rehearse it, and let your emotions affirm it. Carry that state with you like a hidden treasure. Nurture it, protect it. Return to it often. For what you nurture within must eventually be born without. The end is not something you wait for. It is something you live from, and in doing so, you bring it into being. Gratitude in its most sacred form is not a reaction to what has already occurred. It is a declaration of trust in what is yet unseen. Most people wait for the gift before they say thank you. They wait for the breakthrough before they celebrate. They wait for the doors to open before they believe they are favored. But when you understand the spiritual laws that govern this life, you come to see that gratitude is not meant to follow the miracle. It is meant to create it. It is not a reward for blessings received, but a force that pulls those blessings into your life. When you begin to express gratitude in advance, you are not being naive, you are being spiritually intelligent. You are stepping into alignment with the reality that already exists in the unseen realm, and by your thanks, you are calling it forth. To thank God, the universe, life itself, before there is any sign of movement, is to say, I believe in what I cannot yet see. It is an act of courage, a demonstration of faith, and an intimate acknowledgement that reality begins not with evidence, but with belief. This kind of gratitude is magnetic. It does not beg. It does not plead. It claims. It embodies. It stands firm in the storm and whispers thank you, even when nothing has changed on the outside, because something has already shifted on the inside. The moment gratitude is felt, the energy of lack dissolves. The energy of waiting disappears. You are no longer longing, you are receiving. You are no longer doubting, you are affirming. There is something divine about walking through life with a grateful heart before the answers come. It is the behavior of those who know the truth behind appearances. They are not fooled by delay. They are not discouraged by silence. They understand that just because they have not yet touched it with their hands doesn't mean it is not already theirs. They speak to their circumstances with assurance. They look at closed doors and say, thank you, because this is part of the path I cannot yet see. They feel joy in advance. They rejoice not because of the world, but despite it. And that joy becomes a signal, a spiritual frequency that draws matching experiences into form. When you begin to live this way, people will not understand you. They will question your optimism. They will say, why are you so sure? You don't have it yet. But what they do not realize is that you do have it within. And the inner world always precedes the outer. Gratitude in advance is the sign that you already possess the thing you desire in consciousness. It is the seed you plant and water with belief. And as you continue to give thanks for what is unseen, it must appear. The laws of the universe demand it. Life cannot withhold what you have already claimed in faith. It cannot contradict the truth you embody. This is why gratitude is so much more than politeness. It is power. It is the vibration of completion. It says it is done even when others only see the beginning. It is the secret of those who live in alignment with divine intelligence. They do not need to know the how. They do not need to control the path. They simply give thanks as if everything has already been orchestrated perfectly. And in that surrender, they find peace, because gratitude softens resistance. It breaks the tension between desire and fulfillment. It takes you out of the energy of striving and into the energy of receiving. And once you are in the receiving state, all things begin to move toward you, not by force, but by grace. Imagine waking up each day and thanking God for things you've only dreamed of. Imagine walking through your day as if your prayers had already been answered. Imagine writing down your goals and instead of pleading for them, simply saying, thank you, Father, for this reality now made visible. That kind of mindset opens gates. It dissolves worry. It silences the inner critic. Because you are no longer trying to get something, you are living in the energy of already having it. That shift changes the way you speak, the way you walk, the way you respond to the world around you. You radiate peace. You carry an unspoken confidence, not arrogance, and life responds. Circumstances bend. People show up. Ideas are born. Solutions appear. Because you are no longer sending out the signal of desperation, you are sending out the frequency of fulfillment. And like attracts Mike. The world must mirror back what you are consistently emitting. This is not emotional manipulation, it is spiritual principle. Gratitude in advance is the language of creation. It tells the unseen realm, I trust you. It tells your body, we are safe. It tells your mind there is no reason to fear. And with that, you step into a dimension of peace that no external condition can shake. Even in the face of contradiction, gratitude is the anchor. When nothing makes sense, when delays stretch on, when doors seem shut tight, gratitude is the light that keeps you aligned with the truth. It refuses to surrender to appearances. It sees through them. It knows that everything happening now is only temporary. But what is real is eternal and unshaken. And as you continue to give thanks, as you bless the process, the path reveals itself, step by step, piece by piece. And when the manifestation arrives, when the dream unfolds and the door opens, it will feel familiar. Not because you've been there before in the physical, but because you've already visited it 1,000 times in your heart. You've already walked those halls in your imagination. You've already breathed in the air of that new reality. And every time you gave thanks, you brought it closer until it could no longer remain unseen. This is the quiet power of gratitude in advance. It works in silence. It moves mountains that eyes cannot see. It prepares your heart to receive what your mind still questions. It bridges the gap between faith and form. And every time you say thank you, even in the absence of visible proof, you are proving to the universe that you are ready, that you trust, that you are aligned, that you believe the best is not only possible, and from that place, all things are possible. Your state of being is not just how you feel in a given moment. It is the silent force that shapes the world around you. It is the vibration you carry, the invisible energy that you bring into every situation, every room, every interaction. While most people are obsessed with the external, trying to fix circumstances, manage outcomes, or control what others do, the wise understand that everything begins within. Your state draws your circumstances. Not occasionally, not sometimes, always. The world is not happening to you, it is responding to the tone you set internally. If you walk through life in a state of fear, everything you encounter will reflect back the energy of fear. If you carry the energy of being unlucky, overlooked, or forgotten, you will encounter situations that confirm those very beliefs. But the moment you shift your internal state to one of favor, abundance, worthiness, and peace, the world must bend to mirror that shift. It cannot resist it. It must obey the law of reflection. This law is not philosophical, it is practical. Look around you. The patterns in your life, the repetitive outcomes, the tone of your relationships, the way money flows or doesn't flow, the opportunities that appear or seem to stay far away. All of these are mirrors. They are feedback loops showing you what state of consciousness you are consistently occupying. The world is not judging you, it's simply following your lead. And it will follow your lead more faithfully than even you realize. It does not bring you what you want, it brings you who you are. That is why it's not enough to say affirmations or visualize for a few minutes and then go back to old habits of thinking. Your dominant state is what speaks the loudest. Your dominant state is what gets answered. If you say, I am the luckiest person in the world, but internally you still feel defeated, still expect rejection, Still brace yourself for disappointment. Your words are drowned out by your state. The universe hears what you are being, not what you are saying. This is why true transformation is not just about changing what you think. It's about changing what you believe, what you expect, and what you feel to be normal. When you shift your internal norm, when feeling blessed becomes more natural than feeling cursed, when expecting favor feels easier than expecting failure, you have shifted your state. And from there, your life begins to change. Think of your state as a thermostat of your reality. If your inner setting is low self-worth, low expectation, low belief in what is possible, then no matter how much effort you put in, you will keep attracting situations that match that temperature. But when you turn it up, when you begin to raise your expectation, expand your vision, feel worthy of greatness, and believe that life supports you, everything begins to rearrange. Not instantly, not all at once, but faithfully. And as long as you remain in that higher state, life has no choice but to match it. And what is so profound about this law is that it is always active. You are always radiating a state. You are always creating. Even in your silence, even when you are unaware of it, your energy is shaping your future. So the key is awareness, to wake up, to stop blaming the world and start asking, what am I being? Because that question holds the seed of all change. You cannot be in a state of victimhood and expect empowerment. You cannot be in a state of lack and expect overflow. You cannot be in a state of resentment and expect peace. You must become the reality you desire first, and then the reality will follow. When you truly begin to understand this, your life becomes more intentional. You no longer chase, you no longer grasp, you no longer try to manipulate outcomes. You go within, you correct the state. You nurture the feeling of being supported, favored, blessed. And you carry that state like armor, not as a shield against the world, but as a beacon that draws to you what you desire without effort. It's not that challenges disappear. They may still come, but your state dictates how they affect you. In a state of alignment, even setbacks become setups. Even delays carry divine timing. Even rejection feels like redirection, because you are grounded in something deeper than circumstances. And this is why acting as if you are the luckiest person in the world is so powerful. It puts you into a state where favor is not just hoped for, it is assumed. It's already yours. You begin to expect good news. You anticipate open doors. You look for signs of alignment instead of signs of lack. And as you maintain that state, your reality must yield. You don't have to strain or strive. The doors that are meant for you begin to recognize your energy. The opportunities that match your state begin to present themselves. You begin to find yourself in places you never planned, guided by what seems like coincidence but is really spiritual design. There is no secret more valuable than this. Your state is the magnet. Your state is the prayer. Your state is the signal that calls forth every person, place, and event you encounter. So if life has not been reflecting what you desire, look not outward, but inward. Recalibrate the state. Sit in silence. Imagine the version of yourself who already has what you want. Feel what that version feels. Think what they think. Speak how they speak. Let that become your new normal. Hold it, live in it, and return to it again and again until it becomes so familiar that you cannot imagine being any other way. From that place, the world must shift. The law demands it. The mirror cannot help but reflect what you are consistently being. And once you embody the state of divine favor, of unseen support, of joy without reason, the world will mirror it back so faithfully that others will call you lucky. But you will know that luck had nothing to do with it. It was your state all along. The world you see is only a reflection of your inner state. Everything around you, everything you experience, is molded by the thoughts you accept as true. If you desire wealth beyond measure, do not wait for it to come. Assume it is already yours. Feel it, live it. Let the conviction of your inner world be so strong that the outer world has no choice but to rearrange itself in alignment with your assumption. Close your eyes for a moment and see yourself as the wealthiest person alive, not just rich, but beyond rich. There is no one richer than you. Walk as if gold and jewels are at your feet. Speak with the confidence of a person who knows that money is merely an extension of their being. Do not wish for it. Do not hope for it. Know it. Feel the weight of wealth in your hands, the luxury of financial freedom surrounding you. Carry yourself with the dignity of a person who commands abundance, and the world will bow to that assumption. Observe those who have great wealth. They do not chase money. Money chases them. They do not hesitate before making decisions, for they know that their fortune is limitless. They walk with certainty, knowing that all doors open for them, that opportunities present themselves effortlessly. It is not their bank accounts that create this reality, but their unwavering belief in their wealth. And so if you were to adopt their mindset, their state of being, would you not also experience the same abundance? You are not pretending, you are embodying. There is a vast difference. Pretending implies lack. Embodying is an acceptance of truth. If you were truly the wealthiest person in the world, how would you feel? How would you think? How would you move through life? Step into that state now, not tomorrow, not next week, now. Let your mind, your emotions, and your actions align with the reality that you are already living in boundless wealth. The world is not something separate from you. It does not dictate your wealth or your limitations. You do. You hold the power. For your imagination is the only force that shapes reality. Assume your fortune. Accept it fully. Walk through the world knowing there is no one richer than you. Money, success, and abundance are simply the shadows cast by the light of your assumption. The world you experience is not separate from you. Everything you see, touch, and interact with is a reflection of the thoughts you hold within. The circumstances of your life are not random occurrences. They are the precise manifestations of the assumptions you have accepted as true. If you believe in lack, you will see lack everywhere. If you assume struggle, you will find yourself in endless battles. But if you assume wealth, true, boundless, limitless wealth, then that is the reality that must unfold before you. It is not a question of whether this principle works. It is always working without fail. The only question is what you are assuming to be true at this very moment. You do not need to strive for wealth, nor do you need to chase it. The moment you assume that you already possess it, the world must rearrange itself to match that conviction. There is no power outside of you dictating whether you can have riches or not. No external authority determines the level of prosperity that flows into your life. You alone hold that power. It is within your consciousness, within the beliefs you carry. And belief is not something abstract. It is a living force that molds reality itself. Consider the way the truly wealthy move through the world. They do not hesitate before making decisions. They do not shrink back in fear when confronted with financial matters. They operate from a knowing, a deep, unshakable certainty that money is always present, that abundance is their natural state. They do not beg, they do not plead, and they do not doubt. And because they live in that assumption, wealth follows them effortlessly. It is not their actions alone that create their reality, but the consciousness from which those actions arise. If you were to adopt the same state of mind, what would change? If you knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that you were already the richest person in the world, how would you behave? Would you wake up feeling anxious about money? Would you question whether you could afford something? Would you carry a sense of limitation in your heart? Or will you walk with confidence, knowing that the universe itself is responding to your state of being? The moment you truly assume that wealth is yours, you will notice that your entire demeanor shifts. You will no longer approach life from a place of need or desperation. Instead, you will move with the certainty of someone who already possesses everything they could ever desire. This is not about external validation. It is not about proving to the world that you are wealthy. It is about shifting your inner world so completely that the outer world has no choice but to reflect it back to you. The mistake most people make is looking at their current financial situation and using it as evidence of what is possible. They see lack and they assume it must continue. They see struggle and they believe it is inevitable. But what they fail to realize is that the present moment is simply a reflection of past assumptions. It holds no power except the power you give it. If you continue to focus on what is, you will only recreate it. But if you turn your attention inward and assume a new reality, the world must conform. The question is never about whether wealth is available to you. It is always available. The question is whether you are assuming it to be yours. The mind, when properly directed, is the most powerful tool in existence. It does not create by effort or force, it creates by belief. What you accept as true in your imagination will harden into fact in your physical world. There is no other way. This is the law that governs all creation. It does not discriminate, it does not play favorites, it simply responds to your deepest assumptions. Take a moment now to feel the truth of your wealth. Do not wait for evidence, do not look for signs, simply feel it. Let it become so real within you that the world outside of you fades away. Close your eyes and picture yourself living in the reality of boundless prosperity. See yourself making choices from a place of absolute financial freedom. Experience the ease, the confidence, the complete knowing that money is never a concern for you. Let that feeling saturate every fiber of your being. This is not daydreaming, this is creation. Everything begins in the unseen before it becomes visible. A tree exists first as an invisible seed beneath the soil before it emerges as a towering presence. A building is first conceived in the mind of an architect before a single brick is laid. And so it is with your wealth. It must first be constructed in the mind, in the imagination, before it takes form in the material world. You are not waiting for money to come to you, you are birthing it into existence through the assumption that it is already yours. Doubt is the only thing that can disrupt this process. The moment you question whether this will work for you, you have already placed an obstacle in your path. The only reason doubt arises is because the old assumptions still hold some weight in your mind, but the past has no power. The only thing that matters is what you assume right now. If you assume wealth now, and continue to dwell in that assumption, your reality will reshape itself accordingly. There is no room for contradiction in creation. You cannot assume wealth one moment and then fall back into thoughts of lack the next. You must remain steadfast in your conviction. When a sculptor carves a statue, he does not hesitate midway and question whether the shape will emerge. He holds the vision of the completed masterpiece in his mind, and he works with certainty until it is revealed. Your wealth is no different. You must hold firm to the assumption that it is already done. You must live as though you are already in possession of all the riches you could ever need. The world does not operate by chance. Everything is the result of consciousness. There is no such thing as luck, and there are no external forces deciding who will be wealthy and who will not. There is only assumption. The moment you shift your assumption, you shift your reality. What would happen if you never again entertained the idea of lack? If you never again questioned whether you could have something? If you never again doubted that you were the wealthiest person alive? What if you fully embraced that identity now? Without hesitation, without fear, everything would change. The opportunities that once seemed distant would suddenly appear. The resources that once felt scarce would flow effortlessly. The struggles that once held you back would dissolve, not because you forced them to, but because your assumption no longer allows them to exist in your reality. This is the secret of all manifestation. The world cannot help but reflect back to you the beliefs you hold. If you persist in the assumption of wealth, if you refuse to accept anything less, then the outer world must align with that truth. There is no force that can stop it. There is no power that can override your own consciousness. You are the operant power, and you have been given dominion over your reality. Now, in this very moment, claim your wealth. Do not ask for it. Do not wish for it. Assume it, let it be done in your mind, and as you do, watch as the world bends to the power of your assumption. There is a vast difference between pretending and embodying. Pretending implies that you are acting as if something is true when in your heart you do not believe it. It is a surface-level performance, easily disrupted by the external world. But embodying is something far deeper. It is the full acceptance of a truth that has not yet become visible. It is knowing beyond all doubt that what you assume is already real, regardless of whether your senses confirm it. When you embody a state, you do not need to prove anything to anyone. You do not need to force yourself to act a certain way. It flows naturally from within because you have made it your reality. Imagine for a moment that you are the wealthiest person in the world. Not just someone who has a large sum of money, but someone who embodies limitless wealth. How would you feel in your body? How would you walk? How would you speak? How would you think? You would not move through life with hesitation. You would not shrink in fear when it comes to financial decisions. You would carry yourself with a quiet, unshakable confidence. You would know that money is never a concern, that opportunities naturally come to you, that wealth is simply an extension of who you are. This feeling is what must take root in you. It is not about pretending to be rich so that others will perceive you as wealthy. It is about fully assuming that wealth is your natural state until the external world has no choice but to reflect it back to you. The truly wealthy do not spend their time worrying about money. They are not concerned with whether they can afford something. Their wealth is not just in their bank account. It is in their consciousness. It is a deep-rooted sense of abundance that they carry in every moment. This is why they attract more wealth so effortlessly. It is not because they are lucky or because they have some special privilege that others do not. It is because they assume themselves to be wealthy and the world responds to that assumption. If you wish to experience the same reality, you must step into that state now. You must embody it without waiting for proof. Many people misunderstand this concept. They believe that in order to manifest wealth, they must go through the motions of being rich, spending money they do not have, dressing a certain way, or projecting an image of success. But this approach is flawed because it is based on the idea that wealth is something external, something that can be mimicked rather than fully absorbed. True wealth begins within. If you assume yourself to be rich, your actions will naturally follow, not because you are trying to convince anyone, but because that is simply the state from which you operate. Consider a person who has always been wealthy. They do not wake up wondering if they can afford something. They do not analyze every purchase from a place of scarcity. They trust that money is always there, and so it is. This trust is not forced. It is effortless. And because it is effortless, their financial reality remains consistent. But contrast this with someone who desperately wants to be rich yet still holds on to an inner belief in lack. They may dress the part, speak the part, and act as if they are wealthy, but deep inside they still doubt. They still worry. They still feel that money is something outside of them, something they must chase. And so, despite all their external efforts, their reality does not change. The difference lies in the state of being. You cannot force wealth into existence through mere action. The action must arise naturally from the state you embody. If you are truly wealthy in consciousness, your choices, your movements, your energy will reflect that effortlessly. You will no longer second-guess yourself when it comes to money. You will no longer feel the need to impress others with material possessions. Instead, you will carry a quiet assurance, a deep inner knowing that everything you need is already yours. This does not mean that you must go out and spend recklessly. It does not mean that you should ignore financial responsibility. Embodying wealth does not require irresponsible behavior. It requires a shift in perception. You can be in the same circumstances today and yet feel entirely different about them. And in feeling different, you begin the process of shifting your outer reality. If you continue to hold the state of being rich, if you refuse to entertain thoughts of lack, then the world must eventually conform. This is not wishful thinking. It is the very foundation of how reality works. Your mind is the creator of all things. If you believe wealth is something distant, something that requires effort, then that is the reality you will experience. But if you believe wealth is your natural state, if you truly accept it as your identity, then everything around you will shift accordingly. The people, the opportunities, the resources, they will all align with the state you have chosen. This is why the greatest secret to wealth is not found in strategies or techniques. It is found in the simple yet profound ability to embody the state of being rich, without hesitation, without doubt, without waiting for the world to confirm it first. When you wake up each day, step into the feeling of being the wealthiest person in existence. Do not question it. Do not analyze whether it is working, simply assume it. Walk with the energy of someone who knows they have more than enough. Speak with the confidence of someone who is never concerned about money. Make decisions from the place of absolute financial freedom. The moment you fully embrace this state, you will notice a change in how the world responds to you. Money is not something separate from you. It is not something outside of you that you must work tirelessly to obtain. It is a reflection of your inner world, a direct result of the state you choose to embody. If you continue to see yourself as someone who lacks, then lack will persist. But if you see yourself as someone who already possesses unlimited wealth, then that wealth must materialize. There is no other way. Reality is only ever a reflection of consciousness. Look around you now. Everything you have, everything you experience, is the result of past assumptions. If you are not where you want to be financially, it is not because you are incapable. It is simply because you have held on to an inner state that does not align with wealth. But the past holds no power over you. The only thing that matters is what you assume in this moment. And in this moment, you have the power to choose differently. You can choose to embody wealth right now, to claim it as your own without hesitation. Do not wait for evidence. Do not look to your bank account to confirm whether this is working. That is the mistake most people make. They allow the external world to dictate their inner state rather than the other way around. But true power lies in assuming a reality before it becomes visible. When you hold firm to the belief that you are already rich, when you refuse to entertain any thought of lack, when you move through the world with the certainty of someone who knows their wealth is limitless, then that is the reality that must unfold. You do not need permission to be rich. You do not need validation from the world. You simply need to embody the state of wealth, to accept it fully within yourself. And as you do, everything else will take care of itself. Wealth is not something you chase. It is something you become. And once you become it, the world has no choice but to respond in kind. The way you carry yourself in this world is a silent declaration of who you believe yourself to be. It is not in the loud proclamations, the extravagant gestures, or the external displays of wealth. It is in the energy you radiate, the quiet confidence with which you move, and the unshakable assurance that you already possess everything you could ever need. Wealth is not something outside of you. It is not a number in a bank account or a collection of material possessions. It is a state of being, and that state is expressed in the way you think, feel, and act every moment of the day. Consider the way a truly wealthy person walks into a room. They do not enter with hesitation or with a need to prove anything. They do not shrink, nor do they overcompensate by trying to impress others. They simply are. Their presence commands attention without effort. Their movements are smooth, deliberate, and relaxed. They do not rush, for they know that all things unfold in their favor. Their posture is open, their gaze steady, their voice calm and assured. They do not speak from a place of neediness, but from a place of certainty. Every interaction they have reflects their inner state of abundance. Contrast this with the person who desires wealth, but has not yet assumed the identity of a wealthy individual. Their energy tells a different story. They may try to project confidence, but beneath the surface there is a lingering doubt, a subtle insecurity. They move through the world cautiously, their mind occupied with thoughts of lack, their actions tinged with hesitation. They may seek validation from others, hoping that external approval will confirm their worth. But true wealth does not seek validation, it is self-assured. It does not need to be announced, it is simply lived. The way you hold yourself, the way you interact with the world, is a direct reflection of the beliefs you carry. If you believe yourself to be wealthy, your actions will naturally align with that belief. You will not flinch at financial decisions. You will not let fear dictate your choices. You will not operate from a place of scarcity, worrying about whether there is enough. Instead, you will move through life with ease, trusting in the certainty of your abundance. This trust is what creates the reality of wealth. It is not about faking confidence or pretending to be rich. It is about stepping into the role fully, embodying it as if it were already your truth. Imagine waking up tomorrow and knowing, without a doubt, that you are the wealthiest person in existence. Not just financially, but in every way that matters. How would you approach your day? How would you think? How would you carry yourself? Would you walk with a sense of purpose, with an inner calm that comes from knowing that all is well? Would you make decisions with confidence, trusting that whatever you choose will lead to greater success? Would you let go of anxiety and instead embrace the effortless flow of life? Most people allow their external circumstances to dictate their internal state. They look at their bank balance, their current job, their material possessions, and they use those as evidence of who they are. But this is backward. The outer world is always a reflection of the inner world, not the other way around. If you want to change what you see externally, you must first shift the way you carry yourself, the way you think, the way you believe. You must move through the world as the person you intend to be long before the physical proof arrives. This is not about arrogance or pretending to be something you are not. It is about fully stepping into the identity of the person who already possesses everything they desire. It is about knowing that you are the source of wealth, that abundance flows through you effortlessly, that your very being is magnetic to prosperity. When you hold this truth within you, everything begins to align. People respond to you differently. Opportunities present themselves in unexpected ways. Money finds its way to you not because you are chasing it, but because you have become the kind of person to whom money naturally flows. Think of a time when you felt truly confident about something you knew without question. Perhaps it was a skill you had mastered, a subject you understood deeply, or a situation where you felt completely in control. In that moment, you did not have to convince yourself of your ability. You did not second-guess your knowledge. You simply acted from a place of certainty. This is the same energy you must bring to wealth. You must know that you are rich, that abundance is your natural state, that prosperity is already yours. And when you know it with the same certainty that you know your own name, the world must conform to that truth. Your actions must align with this belief, not through forced effort, but through natural embodiment. A wealthy person does not hoard money out of fear of losing it. They trust that there is always more. A wealthy person does not hesitate when making decisions. They act with confidence. A wealthy person does not waste energy worrying about financial struggles because they do not identify with lack. They live from the awareness that they are always provided for, that money is simply a tool that flows in and out of their life with ease. This does not mean reckless spending or irresponsible choices. Embodying wealth does not mean being wasteful or extravagant for the sake of appearances. It means understanding that money is energy, that it responds to the way you feel about it. If you fear losing it, you create a reality where money is scarce. If you believe it is abundant, it will always be there. Your job is not to control money, but to align yourself with the consciousness of abundance. When you walk through life carrying the energy of someone who is already rich, you send out a silent signal to the universe. You declare through your posture, your movements, your speech, and your decisions that you are one with wealth, and the universe, always responding to your state of being, arranges circumstances to match that declaration. You will find that the right people appear at the right time, unexpected opportunities will open up, resources will come to you in ways you could not have predicted. This is not coincidence. It is the direct result of embodying the state of wealth. You do not need to convince others of your abundance. You do not need to announce it, prove it, or seek validation. The truly wealthy do not concern themselves with whether others recognize their success. They know who they are, and that knowing is enough. This is the level of confidence you must cultivate. Move through life as if you are already in possession of all that you desire. Make decisions as the person who has already achieved their financial goals. Think, speak, and act in accordance with the reality you wish to create. If you find yourself slipping into doubt, check your posture, your breath, your tone of voice. Are you moving through life with certainty, or are you still allowing old patterns of lack to dictate your experience? Are you embodying wealth in the way you carry yourself, in the way you interact with others, in the way you make decisions? If not, shift your state. Stand taller, breathe deeply, speak with assurance. Feel the presence of abundance within you. The external world will always catch up to your internal state. Wealth is not a destination, it is a way of being. It is not something you achieve, it is something you become. The more you step into that identity, the more effortless prosperity becomes. It is not about working harder, about proving anything to anyone, or about struggling to attain financial success. It is about embodying the reality of wealth right now, in this moment, and when you do, the world will reflect it back to you in ways beyond what you ever imagined. Money, like all things in life, is drawn to certainty. It does not move toward those who chase it desperately, who fear its absence, or who believe they must struggle to earn it. It flows naturally to those who understand its nature, who welcome it with ease, and who see themselves as the rightful recipients of its abundance. The moment you stop treating wealth as something separate from you and instead recognize yourself as the source, everything changes. The key is not in striving, but in assuming, not in wishing, but in knowing, not in asking when it will come, but in living as if it is already here. Imagine a person who has never worried about money. They move through life with a deep, unshakable trust that all their needs are met. They do not hoard wealth in fear of losing it, nor do they spend recklessly to prove their worth. Instead, they operate from a place of inner assurance. They understand that money is merely an extension of their state of mind, a reflection of their belief in abundance. They never second guess whether they will have enough, because the idea of lack does not exist in their consciousness. And because they do not entertain lack, lack does not appear in their reality. Now, consider the person who constantly worries about money. They check their bank balance obsessively. They hesitate before making any financial decision. They analyze every expense with a sense of fear rather than ease. Even when they receive money, they do not feel relief, because their mind is preoccupied with the thought that it might disappear. This person does not realize that their energy is repelling the very thing they seek. Their focus on scarcity reinforces their experience of it. The more they operate from fear, the more reasons they find to be afraid. The difference between these two people is not their external circumstances, it is their internal state. One assumes abundance and therefore experiences it. The other assumes scarcity and struggles to escape it. The world responds to what you expect, not what you hope for. If you expect wealth, if you act as if it is already yours, if you trust it as deeply as you trust your next breath, then it must come to you. This is not wishful thinking or mere optimism. It is a fundamental law of consciousness. What you accept as true, life must reflect back to you. Consider how effortlessly certain things come into your life. You do not wake up in the morning questioning whether the sun will rise. You do not doubt that gravity will keep you grounded. You do not worry about whether the air will be available for you to breathe. These things are so deeply ingrained in your reality that you do not even think about them. This is the same level of certainty you must have about wealth. It is not a question of whether or not it will come. It already exists. The only thing that determines your experience of it is your assumption. When you stop seeing money as something to chase and instead recognize it as something that flows naturally to you, you free yourself from struggle. You no longer make decisions based on fear. You no longer delay opportunities because of financial hesitation. You move with confidence, knowing that every action you take is supported by an abundance greater than what you can see with your physical eyes. And as you move with this knowing, wealth arranges itself around you, responding to the state you have assumed. People often misunderstand what it means to act as if. It is not about pretending. It is not about reckless spending or living beyond your means in a desperate attempt to mimic the habits of the wealthy. It is about embodying the consciousness of abundance so fully that your actions become effortless expressions of that truth. A person who truly believes they are rich does not feel the need to prove it to others. They do not seek external validation. They simply move through life with ease, making decisions from a place of abundance rather than fear. This is why wealth is a state of mind long before it becomes a physical reality. The shift does not begin in your bank account, it begins in your consciousness. You must assume the feeling of already having what you desire, not just for a moment, not just as a temporary affirmation, but as a way of being. You must practice thinking from the perspective of a person who has already received. How would they think? How would they feel? How would they make choices? When you align your thoughts and actions with this state, the physical world must follow. There is a reason why those who act from abundance continue to receive more, while those who act from lack struggle to break free. The person who assumes wealth gives generously, invests confidently, and welcomes opportunities without hesitation. The person who assumes scarcity holds tightly to what they have, fears risk, and sees the world as a place of limitation. But in trying to protect what little they have, they unknowingly reinforce the cycle of lack. The universe responds not to the words they speak, but to the state they embody. Some may ask, but what if I do not yet have the financial means to act as if I am rich? The answer is simple. Wealth is not about the numbers. It is about the energy. You do not need to spend lavishly to embody abundance. You only need to carry yourself with the assurance that money is already flowing to you. You can dress well within your means and feel luxurious. You can walk with confidence, knowing that every step is leading you toward greater prosperity. You can speak with certainty, knowing that your reality is already shifting in your favor. You do not wait for wealth to come before you feel wealthy. You feel wealthy now, and wealth must come. This is not about forcing reality to change. It is about aligning with the truth that already exists. The universe does not operate on effort. It operates on alignment. If you must strain, push, or fight to manifest money, then you are still operating from a place of lack. True abundance requires no struggle. It requires trust. The wealthiest people are not the ones who work the hardest. They are the ones who understand how to align with the flow of prosperity. They move with certainty, they think from abundance, and they assume the reality they desire as if it were already theirs. You can begin this shift now, in this very moment. Pause and feel the energy of abundance around you. Imagine just for a moment that you have already received everything you desire. Let the feeling of security, ease, and confidence fill your being. Move as if you are already in possession of great wealth. Make decisions from that place. Speak from that place. Think from that place. And as you do, watch as the world begins to rearrange itself to reflect the truth you have claimed. You do not need to force money to come to you. You only need to assume it is already yours. The moment you embody this state fully, without doubt, without hesitation, without questioning when or how it will happen, it must appear in your life. Wealth is not something you achieve, it is something you allow. It is not something outside of you, it is something you become. And when you become it, the world cannot help but respond in kind. There is a profound shift that occurs when you no longer see wealth as something distant, something you must chase, something you must earn through struggle. The moment you accept that you are already rich, that you are already abundant, that money is simply a reflection of your inner state, everything begins to align effortlessly. Wealth does not respond to effort alone, it responds to certainty. to the quiet, unshakable knowing that you are already one with it. The world you experience is nothing more than a mirror of your internal state. If you see yourself as someone who is always striving for money, then you will continue to experience a reality where money is something to be pursued. If you believe that wealth is reserved for others, that it is something difficult to obtain, then your reality will shape itself around that belief. But if you shift your consciousness, if you begin to assume without doubt that you are already wealthy, then wealth will have no choice but to reveal itself in your experience. It is not a question of possibility but of inevitability. Imagine for a moment that you have everything you desire: the home, the lifestyle, the ease, the freedom. Everything is already yours. How do you feel? There is no worry, no doubt, no desperation. You move through life with a sense of calm assurance, knowing that all your needs are met. Your actions are not driven by fear, but by choice. You invest, you give, you expand, not because you are trying to become rich, but because you are already rich. This is the key. You do not wait for external proof before adopting this state of being. You assume it now and the world will conform. Consider the way a truly wealthy person moves through the world. They do not hesitate before making a decision. They do not operate from a place of lack. They are not consumed by thoughts of losing what they have, because they do not see wealth as something separate from them. It is simply a part of who they are. They expect money to flow into their lives, and so it does. They act from a place of confidence, and life responds in kind. This is not about arrogance or recklessness. It is about a deep internal knowing that prosperity is your natural state. Now compare this to someone who is always struggling, always in fear of not having enough. They hesitate, they second guess, they operate from a mindset of limitation. Even when they receive money, their first thought is not how to enjoy it or expand it, but how to protect it, how to ensure it does not run out. And in doing so, they reinforce the very state they wish to escape. They unknowingly push wealth away by assuming its absence. The difference between these two people is not the money in their bank account. It is the state of mind they occupy. The person who knows they are wealthy does not need to see the money in order to believe in their wealth. They believe first, and the money appears. This is the great secret. Most people live their lives waiting for evidence before they believe. But the truth is that belief creates the evidence. You do not become rich and then believe in your wealth. You believe in your wealth and then you become rich. This is not about deception, not about pretending. It is about assuming the reality you desire so completely that it must manifest. When you assume you are already wealthy, your entire relationship with money changes. You stop worrying about how it will come, and you simply trust that it will. You stop seeking validation through external displays of wealth, because you no longer need to prove anything. You stop making choices based on fear, because fear has no place in a mind that knows its own abundance. You begin to act in ways that naturally attract money. Opportunities arise, doors open, ideas flow effortlessly. The world rearranges itself around your assumption. This is why so many people struggle with money, not because they are incapable, not because they lack talent or intelligence, but because they have conditioned themselves to see wealth as something outside of them. They have accepted the idea that they must work tirelessly, that they must struggle, that they must prove themselves worthy before they can receive. And in doing so, they create a reality in which money is always just out of reach. But the moment they release this belief, the moment they assume wealth as their natural state, everything changes. Imagine two people walking into the same room, both desiring wealth. One enters with hesitation, with doubt, with the belief that money is difficult to obtain. They analyze every opportunity through the lens of fear, worrying about what could go wrong, questioning whether they deserve success. The other enters with absolute certainty, with an inner knowing that they are already rich. They move through the world with ease, confident in their decisions, expecting doors to open for them. And because they expect it, it happens. The same room, the same opportunities, yet vastly different outcomes. All because of the state they assume. You do not need to wait for the world to show you proof of your wealth. You do not need to wait for your bank account to reflect the numbers you desire before you believe. You must decide now, in this very moment, that you are already rich, that money flows to you effortlessly, that you are worthy, that you are abundant, that prosperity is your natural state. This decision, this assumption, is what will transform your reality. Some may wonder, how can I assume wealth when my current circumstances show otherwise? The answer is simple. Your current circumstances are nothing more than the result of your past assumptions. They have no power over you unless you continue to believe in them. The moment you shift your state of consciousness, the outer world must follow. It may not happen instantly, but it will happen inevitably. And when it does, you will see that you were never lacking, never separate from abundance. You only needed to claim it. You must trust in the unseen before it becomes seen. You must walk with the confidence of a person who already has everything they desire, not as an act, not as a performance, but as a deep inner knowing. You must carry yourself as if wealth is already yours. You must think, speak, and act from that state. And as you do, you will watch as money, opportunities, and success gravitate toward you. Not because you chased them, but because you became the person to whom they naturally belong. This is the great secret that so few understand. The rich are not rich because they work harder. They are rich because they assume the state of wealth so completely that it must materialize in their experience. They do not question it, they do not doubt it, they simply live from it. And you can do the same. The moment you accept your wealth as a present reality, not a future goal, not a distant dream, but a truth that already exists, everything shifts. The world responds to your state, and when that state is one of absolute abundance, there is nothing that can keep it from you. Wealth is not something you acquire, it is something you claim. And once you claim it, it is yours. The way you see yourself is the way the world responds to you. If you carry yourself as someone who lacks, who is in need, who is always waiting for a break, then that is exactly what life will reflect back to you. You are not here to beg for scraps. You are not here to be at the mercy of circumstances. You are the creator of your own experience, and the wealth you seek is already within you. Poverty is not just a condition of the external world. It is first a state of mind. It is the belief that you do not have enough, that you must struggle, that abundance is far from you. But what if you were to shift that belief? What if you stopped acting like someone who lacks and started embodying the energy of someone who already has? Because the truth is, you already do. Everything you desire is already yours the moment you claim it in consciousness. You must stop speaking lack into existence. Stop saying, I can't afford this, I wish I had more, I'm struggling. These words create your world. Every time you affirm limitation, you bind yourself to it. Instead, assume the feeling of already having what you desire. Walk as if you are wealthy. Speak as if money flows to you effortlessly. Think from abundance, not toward it. There is no power outside of you determining your financial state. The only authority in your life is the consciousness you choose to dwell in. If you continue to see yourself as poor, as lacking, as struggling, then that is what life will continue to reflect. But if you assume the identity of wealth, if you live in the state of abundance, the world will have no choice but to rearrange itself to match your assumption. Stop looking at your bank account with fear. Stop reacting to circumstances if they have power over you. Money is not something separate from you. It is simply an expression of your state of being. The moment you truly know you are wealthy, the evidence will follow. Not because you wished for it, not because you waited for something outside to change, but because you dared to believe in the unseen reality that is more real than anything your senses report. You do not attract wealth, you embody it. You do not chase prosperity, you assume it. You do not beg for abundance, you live from it. The world does not give you what you want. It gives you who you are. The way you see yourself is the foundation of everything that unfolds in your life. It is not the external world that dictates your reality, but the internal image you hold of yourself. If you believe you are lacking, struggling, or always in need, life will mirror that belief back to you in every possible way. You will find yourself in situations that confirm your inner assumption. You will encounter obstacles that reinforce the idea that success and abundance are difficult to attain. The outer world is simply a reflection of your inner state. Change the way you see yourself, and you will change everything around you. Your self-concept is the key to your experience. If you constantly think of yourself as someone who has to fight for survival, who has to work harder than everyone else just to get by, then that belief will shape the conditions of your life. But if you shift your perception and truly see yourself as someone who is naturally abundant, someone for whom wealth and success flow effortlessly, then that will become your reality. There is no external force keeping you in limitation. The only thing that holds you back is your own belief system, the deep-seated assumptions you carry about yourself and the world. Most people believe that money, success, and abundance are things they must chase, things that exist outside of them and must be earned through struggle. But the truth is, wealth is a state of being. It is a reflection of your inner world. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. If you want to experience prosperity, you must first become prosperous in your mind. You must think, feel, and act as though you already have everything you desire. This is not about pretending or wishful thinking. It is about fully embracing a new identity, one that aligns with the life you want to live. Everything you see around you is a product of your consciousness. Your financial situation is no exception. If you see yourself as poor, life will continue to confirm that perception. If you walk through the world feeling as though you lack resources, opportunities, or support, those feelings will shape the experiences that come your way. But the moment you change your inner narrative, the moment you decide to see yourself as someone who is already abundant, the outer world must rearrange itself to match that assumption. Reality has no choice but to conform to the consciousness you dwell in. Consider the way you carry yourself. Do you walk with confidence, knowing that you are worthy of success? Or do you move through life as if you are always waiting for something to change before you can feel secure? The way you present yourself to the world is a direct reflection of the way you see yourself. If you dress, speak, and act as though you are struggling, you reinforce that identity within yourself. But if you begin to embody the energy of someone who is already successful, already abundant, already thriving, you will start to see the evidence of that identity manifest in your life. This is not about spending money recklessly or pretending to have more than you do. It is about aligning your inner state with the reality you wish to experience. When you hold the belief that wealth is a natural part of who you are, you will begin to make choices that reflect that belief. You will no longer doubt your ability to create the life you desire. You will no longer speak words of lack or limitation. Instead, you will speak with confidence, move with certainty, and act with the conviction that abundance is your birthright. Many people hold themselves back because they are waiting for external validation. They believe that once they see money in their bank account, then they will feel abundant. They believe that once they land the perfect job or receive the right opportunity, then they will have proof that they are successful. But this is an illusion. The outer world is a reflection of the inner world, not the other way around. If you wait for circumstances to change before you shift your mindset, you will remain stuck in a cycle of lack. But if you change your mindset first, the circumstances will follow. Imagine yourself as the person you want to become. How do you think? How do you speak? How do you move through life? Begin to embody that version of yourself now, in this moment. Speak as though you are already successful. Make decisions from a place of confidence and abundance. Trust that everything you need is already within you, and watch how the world responds. The universe is not withholding anything from you. The only thing standing between you and the life you desire is your willingness to claim it. Stop looking at your current reality as if it is permanent. It is simply a reflection of past thoughts and beliefs. The moment you decide to see yourself differently, everything will shift. Money is not something you must struggle for. It is an expression of your consciousness. If you believe in scarcity, you will experience scarcity. If you believe in abundance, you will experience abundance. The choice is always yours. Start today by observing your thoughts and words. Notice when you speak of lack, when you assume struggle, when you believe things are difficult. In those moments, pause and shift your perspective. Replace those thoughts with affirmations of abundance. Instead of saying, I can't afford this, say, I choose to spend my money wisely, and more flows to me effortlessly. Instead of saying, I have to work hard just to survive, say, I am in alignment with opportunities that bring me wealth and fulfillment. Words have power, they shape your reality. Speak as the person you want to become. Your self-concept is the foundation of your experience. If you see yourself as poor, if you act as if you are struggling, if you constantly dwell in thoughts of lack, then that is the reality you will continue to experience. But the moment you shift into the consciousness of wealth, the moment you claim abundance as your natural state, the outer world will reflect that truth back to you. You are not here to suffer. You are not here to scrape by. You are here to create, to expand, to experience the fullness of life in all its abundance. Everything begins with the way you see yourself. Change that, and you change everything. Poverty is not just about a lack of money. It is a deeply ingrained mindset that governs the way you think, speak, and act. It is a belief system that tells you that there is never enough, that life is a struggle, that wealth is reserved for others but not for you. This way of thinking is far more powerful than any external circumstance because it determines how you interpret and react to the world around you. A person with a poverty mindset will always find reasons to confirm their belief in lack, even when opportunities for abundance are right in front of them. The truth is, money does not make a person rich, consciousness does. There are people who have millions yet still live in fear of losing it. They are consumed by thoughts of scarcity, convinced that they must hoard and protect their wealth because deep down they believe it could disappear at any moment. On the other hand, there are those who have very little but move through life with a deep sense of abundance, knowing that more is always available, that resources flow freely, and that they are never truly lacking. The difference is not in their bank accounts, but in their states of mind. A poverty mindset keeps you trapped in limitation because it convinces you that you are a victim of circumstances. It tells you that your financial state is determined by the economy, by your job, by luck, or by the generosity of others. It blinds you to the fact that you are the creator of your own experience, that you have the power to shift your reality by changing your inner state. As long as you continue to believe that wealth is something outside of you, something that must be earned through struggle or granted by external forces, you will remain in a cycle of lack. Your thoughts are powerful. The way you speak about money shapes your financial reality. If you constantly say, I can't afford this, money is hard to come by, I never have enough, then you are reinforcing the belief that scarcity is your reality. These words are not just statements, they are affirmations that program your subconscious mind to expect lack. And because your subconscious is always working to bring your dominant beliefs into physical reality, you will continue to experience situations that confirm your belief in struggle. To break free from this mindset, you must first become aware of it. Pay attention to the way you think about money. Do you feel anxious when you check your bank account? Do you hesitate to spend, fearing that there won't be enough left? Do you resent those who have more, believing that wealth is unfairly distributed? These are all signs that you are operating from a poverty consciousness. But the good news is, just as this mindset was learned, it can be unlearned. The first step in shifting out of a poverty mindset is to change the way you speak. Your words carry creative power, and every time you affirm lack, you are shaping your reality accordingly. Instead of saying, I can't afford this, say, money flows to me in expected and unexpected ways. Instead of saying, I'm struggling, say, I am always provided for and everything I need comes to me with ease. These statements may feel unnatural at first because they contradict your current experience, but that is the point. You are not affirming what is, you are affirming what you want to create. Next, you must change the way you feel about money. If you associate money with stress, anxiety, or guilt, then you will unconsciously push it away. Money, like everything else, responds to energy. If you see it as something that is scarce, that must be held on too tightly, that comes and goes unpredictably, then that is exactly how it will behave in your life. But if you develop a relationship with money based on gratitude, trust, and ease, you will find that it flows to you effortlessly. Gratitude is one of the most powerful ways to shift your financial state. Instead of focusing on what you lack, focus on what you already have. Appreciate every dollar that comes your way, no matter how small. Celebrate your ability to pay for things, even if it's just a simple meal. The more gratitude you express for the money in your life, the more you will attract. This is not because gratitude magically creates money, but because it shifts your consciousness into a state of abundance. And when you are in a state of abundance, you make decisions and take actions that lead to greater financial prosperity. Another crucial aspect of breaking free from a poverty mindset is to stop waiting for external validation before you feel abundant. Many people believe that they will feel rich once they have a certain amount of money, but this is an illusion. If you do not first cultivate the feeling of abundance within yourself, no amount of money will ever be enough. You will always find reasons to feel like you need more, and you will continue to operate from a place of lack. Instead, practice feeling abundant now, regardless of your current financial situation. Act as if you already have all the resources you need. Make decisions from a place of confidence rather than fear. The more you embody the energy of wealth, the more you will attract financial opportunities. One of the biggest traps of a poverty mindset is the belief that making money requires struggle. Many people have been conditioned to think that wealth only comes through hard work, sacrifice, and suffering. While effort is certainly required, wealth does not have to come at the cost of your well-being. In fact, those who understand abundance know that money flows most easily when it is aligned with joy, passion, and purpose. If you believe that financial success must be difficult, then you will create unnecessary struggle in your life. But if you shift your belief to one that says, money comes to me through ease, creativity, and alignment, you will begin to see new paths open up that were previously invisible to you. Your financial state is not determined by your job, your background, or the state of the economy. It is determined by your consciousness. You can change jobs, work harder, or try to save more. But if you do not change the way you think about money, your external reality will eventually revert to match your internal beliefs. That is why some people win the lottery and lose it all within a few years. They never change their mindset, so their reality returned to what they subconsciously believed to be true. The key to lasting wealth is not in acquiring more money, but in transforming your relationship with it. Stop seeing money as something that is separate from you, something that is difficult to attain or easy to lose. Instead, recognize that wealth is an extension of your consciousness, and when you operate from a mindset of abundance, money naturally flows into your life. To fully break free from a poverty mindset, you must consistently embody the consciousness of wealth. This means thinking, speaking, and acting as though you are already financially secure. It means making decisions from a place of trust rather than fear. It means no longer identifying with struggle and lack, but instead aligning yourself with the energy of abundance. You do not need to wait for your external circumstances to change before you shift your mindset. In fact, waiting for external change is what keeps you stuck. The moment you decide to see yourself as someone who is already abundant, you begin to shift your reality. Wealth does not start in your bank account, it starts in your mind. Change your beliefs and everything else will follow. Money is energy, and the way you interact with it determines how it flows in your life. The poverty mindset sees money as something elusive, something that must be chased, hoarded, and controlled. It believes that wealth is external, separate from the self, and difficult to attain. This perspective keeps many people trapped in a cycle of lack, constantly feeling as though they are at the mercy of circumstances beyond their control. But the truth is, money is simply a reflection of your internal state, a mirror of the beliefs you hold about abundance, worth, and possibility. To shift your financial reality, you must first shift the way you see money. Many people who struggle financially have been conditioned to see money as a scarce resource. They were taught from a young age that wealth is hard to come by, that one must work tirelessly to earn it, and that those who have it are either lucky or deceitful. These beliefs create a subconscious resistance to financial prosperity. If deep down you believe that money is difficult to obtain, you will unconsciously push it away, sabotage opportunities, or create unnecessary struggle. The first step in changing this is to recognize money for what it truly is. Not a material object, but a representation of value and energy. Money is neutral. It has no inherent good or bad qualities. It is simply a tool, a means of exchange, a way of circulating energy in the world. It is not something to be feared, resented, or worshipped. If you believe money is evil, you will keep it at a distance. If you believe money corrupts, you will be afraid of having too much. If you see money as something that only comes through suffering, you will create financial struggle in your life even when opportunities for ease exist. Your relationship with money is entirely dictated by your beliefs about it. To change your financial state, you must first redefine your relationship with money. Instead of seeing it as something that is hard to get, see it as something that flows effortlessly. Instead of seeing it as something controlled by external forces, recognize that you are the creator of your financial experience. Instead of associating money with struggle, begin to associate it with joy, freedom, and expansion. The way you think about money influences the way it behaves in your life. When you shift your perception, you shift your experience. One of the greatest blocks to financial abundance is guilt. Many people, especially those who have struggled with money, feel a deep sense of guilt around wealth. They feel guilty for wanting more, for desiring a life of ease, for imagining themselves as financially free. This guilt is often rooted in societal and cultural programming that equates wealth with selfishness. But wealth is not inherently selfish. In fact, when money is in the hands of those who are conscious, compassionate, and aligned with their higher purpose, it becomes a tool for positive transformation. There is nothing wrong with desiring financial abundance. Wanting more does not mean you are greedy. It means you recognize your potential. It means you understand that you are here to live fully, to experience life without limitations, to contribute to the world in meaningful ways. Money is not the goal, but it is a resource that allows you to express your highest self. When you release guilt around wealth, you open yourself to receive it without resistance. Another major shift in perception that must occur is the understanding that money does not come from work, it comes from consciousness. Society has conditioned people to believe that income is directly tied to effort, that the harder one works, the more money they will earn. But this is an illusion. There are people who work tirelessly and remain financially stuck, while others create immense wealth with minimal effort. The difference is not in the labor, but in the mindset. Money flows to those who are aligned with abundance. It responds to energy, not effort. This is why some people seem to attract wealth effortlessly. They have cultivated a consciousness of prosperity. They do not chase money, they expect it. They do not stress over financial matters. They trust that resources will always be available. This is not arrogance. It is a deep inner knowing that wealth is a state of being, not just a number in a bank account. If you want to shift your financial reality, you must begin to see yourself as someone who is already abundant. This does not mean reckless spending or pretending to have money you do not have. It means embodying the energy of prosperity in the way you think, speak, and act. It means refusing to entertain thoughts of scarcity and instead choosing to focus on expansion. A A powerful way to shift your financial consciousness is to practice gratitude for money. Instead of worrying about what you lack, appreciate what you have. Every dollar you receive, every bill you pay, every opportunity to exchange value is a moment to express gratitude. Gratitude shifts your energy from scarcity to abundance, from fear to trust. The more you appreciate the flow of money in your life, the more that flow expands. Another important practice is to become comfortable with the idea of wealth. Many people subconsciously resist money because they are unfamiliar with what it feels like to have it. They have spent so long struggling that financial security feels foreign, even unsafe. This is why many people who suddenly come into money, whether through inheritance, lottery winnings, or unexpected success, end up losing it. Their subconscious minds are not accustomed to wealth, so they unconsciously return to a state of financial struggle. To break this cycle, you must begin to normalize abundance. Visualize yourself living in financial freedom. Imagine what it feels like to make decisions without worrying about money. Surround yourself with people, experiences, and environments that reflect prosperity. The more familiar wealth becomes, the more naturally it will flow into your life. It is also essential to shift from a mindset of receiving to one of circulating. Many people operate from a place of wanting to get money, but true financial flow comes from circulation. Money, like energy, must move. When you hoard it, fearing that there won't be enough, you create stagnation. But when you allow money to flow, when you invest, give, and spend with trust, you create an open channel for greater abundance. Generosity is a key aspect of financial expansion. Giving does not mean reckless spending or self-sacrifice. It means recognizing that money is not something to be held on to tightly, but something that moves freely. When you give from a place of abundance, you affirm that you trust in the infinite flow of resources. You align yourself with the principle that what you give out, you receive back multiplied. The final and perhaps most important shift in perception is recognizing that wealth is not something outside of you. It is something you embody. You do not need to chase money. You need to become the person who naturally attracts it. You do this by aligning your thoughts, emotions, and actions with abundance. You do this by rejecting the belief in lack and replacing it with the certainty of prosperity. You do this by no longer seeing money as something separate from you, but as an extension of your consciousness. When you truly internalize these shifts in perception, your external financial reality will begin to change. You will notice new opportunities appearing, unexpected sources of income, and an overall sense of ease around money. This is not magic. It is the natural consequence of embodying an abundance mindset. Money is not about numbers. It is about consciousness. Shift your perception and everything else will follow. Your self-concept dictates the level of wealth you experience. It is not external circumstances, the economy, or your job that determine your financial state. It is the way you see yourself in relation to money. If you believe yourself to be poor, you will unconsciously make decisions that reinforce that belief. If you see yourself as someone who struggles financially, you will continue to attract situations that keep you in that struggle. Your financial reality is not separate from your identity. It is a reflection of it. Most people unknowingly keep themselves in financial limitation because they identify as someone who lacks. They see themselves as just getting by, as someone who never has enough, as someone who struggles to make ends meet. They may consciously desire wealth, but their subconscious identity is still tied to financial struggle. And because the subconscious mind always seeks to prove itself right, it creates experiences that match that identity. Changing your financial reality requires changing your self-concept. You must stop seeing yourself as someone who is poor, struggling, or limited. You must begin to see yourself as a person who naturally attracts wealth, as someone who is financially free, as someone who lives in abundance. This is not about pretending or deluding yourself. It is about aligning your internal state with the reality you wish to experience. Most people try to change their financial situation by focusing on external actions, working harder, saving more, looking for new opportunities, While action is important, it is secondary to identity. If your self-concept is one of lack, no amount of external action will create lasting wealth. You may experience temporary financial success, but you will always return to the level of abundance that matches your internal belief system. This is why many people who suddenly come into wealth, whether through a windfall, a promotion, or an unexpected opportunity, often lose it just as quickly. Their self-concept has not caught up with their new financial reality, so they unconsciously return to a familiar state of struggle. The key to lasting financial transformation is to reprogram your self-concepts. Instead of seeing yourself as someone who is trying to become wealthy, begin to see yourself as someone who already is. This does not mean reckless spending or pretending to have money you do not have. It means embodying the energy of wealth in your thoughts, emotions, and decisions. It means asking yourself, how would a wealthy person think? How would they act? How would they make decisions? And then aligning your behavior with that mindset. A wealthy person does not stress over minor expenses. They do not constantly check their bank account in fear. They do not operate from a place of desperation or scarcity. Instead, they move through life with confidence, knowing that money flows to them effortlessly. They trust in their ability to create, receive, and manage wealth. They do not operate from fear. They operate from certainty. You must begin to embody this same certainty. Start small. Practice making financial decisions from a place of trust rather than fear. When you spend money, do so with confidence, knowing that more will come. When you receive money, express gratitude rather than anxiety. When opportunities arise, take them with the belief that you are worthy of financial success. The more you align with the identity of wealth, the more your external reality will shift to reflect it. Your words also play a powerful role in shaping your financial self-concept. Many people reinforce a poverty identity by the way they speak. They say things like, I can't afford that, money is tight, I'm broke, or I never have enough. These statements may seem harmless, but they are powerful affirmations that reinforce financial lack. Every time you say these words, you are instructing your subconscious mind to keep you in a state of limitation. Instead of speaking from lack, begin to speak from abundance. Replace statements like, I can't afford it with, I am choosing to prioritize other things right now. Replace money is tight with, money is always flowing to me. Replace I'm broke with, I am on my way to financial freedom. The words you speak shape the reality you experience. Choose words that align with the wealth you wish to embody. Another key aspect of shifting your financial self-concept is your environment. The people, places, and experiences you surround yourself with influence the way you see yourself. If you're constantly around people who struggle financially, who complain about money, who reinforce scarcity, it will be difficult to shift your identity. You must begin to immerse yourself in environments that reflect the wealth you want to embody. This does not mean spending money recklessly or trying to impress others. It means exposing yourself to experiences that normalize wealth. Visit places where financially successful people spend time. Read books and listen to content created by those who have mastered abundance. Surround yourself with people who have a healthy, confident relationship with money. The more natural it will become for you. Visualization is another powerful tool for reshaping your financial identity. Your subconscious mind does not distinguish between reality and imagination. It accepts whatever you consistently impress upon it. If you regularly visualize yourself as financially abundant, as someone who makes decisions from a place of ease, as someone who moves through life with confidence in their financial well-being, your mind will begin to accept this as your reality. And once your subconscious accepts a new identity, your external world will begin to shift to match it. Spend time each day visualizing yourself as financially free. See yourself living in the home you desire, driving the car you want, traveling to the places that inspire you. Feel the emotions of financial security, joy, and expansion. The more vividly you can imagine this, the more quickly it will become your reality. You must also be willing to let go of old financial patterns. Many people remain stuck in poverty consciousness because they are attached to struggle. They have spent so long identifying as someone who works hard but never gets ahead that letting go of that struggle feels unfamiliar. But you cannot step into wealth while still holding on to the identity of lack. You must release the belief that money only comes through suffering. You must be willing to see yourself as someone for whom financial abundance is natural, easy, and inevitable. Let go of the need to justify wealth. Many people feel the need to prove that they have worked hard enough to deserve money. They believe that financial success must come with struggle, sacrifice, and suffering. But money is not something that needs to be earned through pain. It is something that flows to those who are aligned with it. Start seeing wealth as your natural state. Instead of viewing financial success as something distant or difficult, begin to accept that it is already yours. Act as though you are someone who is financially free. Make decisions from a place of trust rather than fear. Surround yourself with experiences that normalize wealth. Visualize yourself living in prosperity every single day. Your financial state is a direct reflection of your self-concept. If you want to experience abundance, you must first become the person who naturally attracts it. Change the way you see yourself, and your external world will follow. Money flows where it is welcomed. It is not about chasing or forcing wealth, but about creating a state of being that naturally attracts it. Many people spend their lives working tirelessly, believing that sheer effort alone will bring them financial success. Yet, they remain stuck in struggle because their energy around money is rooted in desperation and lack. The truth is, money does not respond to force. It responds to alignment. When you embody the state of wealth, when you truly feel abundant before the evidence appears, money begins to flow effortlessly into your life. Most people are unaware that their relationship with money is dictated by the energy they hold around it. If they see money as something difficult to obtain, something scarce, something that only comes through struggle, they create an energetic barrier that repels it. They do not realize that their beliefs, their emotions, and their subconscious programming are constantly shaping their financial reality. They think they must work harder, do more, or sacrifice their well-being to achieve financial freedom. But the truth is, money flows most easily to those who expect it, those who feel at ease with it, and those who understand that wealth is a state of mind long before it is a physical reality. Your dominant feelings and beliefs around money dictate how much of it you allow into your life. If you constantly feel stressed about finances, if you worry about how you will pay your bills, if you doubt your ability to create abundance, you are holding yourself in a state of lack. The universe does not respond to your desires alone, it responds to your dominant state of being. If your dominant state is one of struggle, then struggle is what you will continue to experience. If your dominant state is one of ease, confidence, and abundance, then money will flow to you in ways you never expected. This is why gratitude is one of the most powerful tools for shifting your financial reality. Most people focus on what they lack, on what they do not have, on what is missing in their lives. This focus on scarcity keeps them trapped in a cycle of limitation. But when you shift your attention to what you already have, when you begin to feel grateful for the money that is already in your life, no matter how small, it changes your energy entirely. Gratitude amplifies abundance. When you appreciate what you have, you signal to the universe that you are open to receiving more. Start developing a deep sense of appreciation for every financial blessing in your life. Be grateful when money comes to you, no matter how small the amount. Appreciate the bills you are able to pay rather than resenting them. When you pay for something, instead of feeling like money is leaving you, feel gratitude for the fact that you had the money to spend. The more you appreciate money, the more money will flow to you. Another key aspect of allowing money to flow is trust. Many people block their own financial blessings because they do not trust that money will continue to come. They cling tightly to every dollar, afraid to spend, afraid to invest, afraid to enjoy what they have. This fear of losing money creates a resistance that stops more from coming in. True financial freedom is not just about having money, it is about trusting that money will always be there when you need it. When you operate from a place of trust, you make financial decisions with confidence rather than fear. You spend money without anxiety, knowing that more is on the way. You invest in yourself and your dreams, knowing that every dollar you put out will return to you multiplied.